initially about her death. Either she willingly went over the edge because she was unhappy with everything that was going on in her life, or she was so intoxicated she lost her balance and slipped over the edge. But the thing is, a lot of people didn't believe either of these theories. And at one point, the Mumbai police claimed that the files of Disha's death were deleted, quote, accidentally, and this only fueled the theories even more. And on top of that, a very outspoken politician came forward to say, hey, everyone, get it together. The police are covering up the truth of what happened to Disha. He claimed that Disha was killed and even the state minister was involved in her cover-up. So you're like, okay, who's Disha? Why would the state minister be involved? Disha was a manager for talented stars in Bollywood. She was frequently rubbing shoulders with Bollywood elites and what some might call the Bollywood mafia. There was a rumor. It's like about $10,000 a month, right? The only problem is, Courtney made all of this money on OnlyFans after she was accused of stabbing her boyfriend to death in April of 2022. So she kept posting 4 months after her boyfriend died because he had a knife in his chest. He was literally stabbed to death. And she kept posting. She kept making money. She was out there. She was actually running around town in Hawaii doing a lot, going to bars. So let's talk about the viral case of Courtney Taylor. She is often known as the OF model that has been arrested and charged with murder.
Hatred, this hate of humans, specifically the civilization's structure of time and evolution. Eat, sleep, work, reproduce, then die. But he was able to control and connect to his unheard of sense, realizing he didn't have to be a part of society's mindless play. He began to learn about his abilities, telekinesis, seeing into others' memories, creating hallucinations, and more. He tested these abilities on wildlife such as telekinesis on rabbits and other animals. He caused his father to hallucinate parts of his traumatic memories, such as a baby burning in a cradle, a memory from the war where he ordered the shelling of a building, thinking they were German soldiers inside, only to find himself horribly wrong. He would scare Virginia with spiders crawling out the drain, and give Alice horrific nightmares. They thought it was the demon's doing. Well, Victor did. Virginia, however, thought her son was somehow doing these things. She somehow knew. She wanted to send him to a doctor, but nothing really came of it. But one fateful night, Henry decided to make his next move.
It's like about $10,000 a month, right? The only problem is, Courtney made all of this money on OnlyFans after she was accused of stabbing her boyfriend to death in April of 2022. So she kept posting 4 months after her boyfriend died because he had a knife in his chest. He was literally stabbed to death. And she kept posting. She kept making money. She was out there. She was actually running around town in Hawaii doing a lot, going to bars. So let's talk about the viral case of Courtney Taylor. She is often known as the OF model that has been arrested and charged with murder.
Now, going back to the Taylor thing, I'm curious for you as her friend.
Yeah.
I mean, did you feel like Taylor would let her on be the word? Or did you feel like, what did you think, seeing the connection, how it transpired, and then seeing how quickly he was just like with Clark?
To me, like, in the moment, it didn't feel like he was leading her on, because Taylor and I were close. Like, he would always come to me and vent about Alandria, asking me for advice and this and that, like, what do I do, whatever. So to me, I thought he's like, genuinely interested, trying to figure this out, trying to navigate the relationship and stuff. I was very shocked to find out when we came back from Customer that when he did make that decision
on those bleachers, like, what the
I was just very shocked because I'm like, did you communicate
so what they
your
put out there
feelings
is
before
not
this?
how
Like,
it was in the villa at all. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not head over heels for a man that does not like me or wasn't physically attracted to me. None of that was told to me. You think I would be going hard for a man that does not find me physically attractive? I would have rather just been his friend.
I didn't see
I'm
that.
not
He
everyone's
wasn't
cup of tea,
interested.
so like Amani said, don't drink it. You know what I mean? So it's just like...
And so were there any moments off of the camera that led...
Explanation in terms of design. And it was a huge stroke of insight for Darwin to see that it didn't, that the laws of physics alone could produce this prodigious amount of complexity, filtered through this odd process of natural selection. To me, it's always been strange that it took so long, that it took until the middle of the 19th century for Darwin and Wallace, and even maybe one or two other people.
This is thousands of years of thought.
Yes, and
brilliant people have come before.
Aristotle could have had it and didn't. I mean, when you think how much cleverer you had to be to do what Newton did, or Leibniz, inventing calculus, working out about the laws of how gravity.
The Newton finger puppet here.
Okay, yeah. You'd think that somebody would have tumbled to evolution by natural selection before the middle of the 19th century, yet they didn't.
The man who murdered Charlie Kirk in cold blood is 22-year-old Tyler Robinson. That's according to the governor of Utah and the FBI. Utah's governor says Robinson was taken into custody at 10 p.m. Mountain Time. That's midnight Eastern Time in Utah. Robinson's arrest comes after two men were detained, questioned, and released in the hours after the shooting. Robinson faces 3 state charges: aggravated murder, felony discharge of a firearm causing serious bodily injury, and obstruction of justice in a capital or first-degree felony conduct. An affidavit contains a lot of details that the governor went through in a press conference. More on that in just a second. Robinson was apprehended after a 33-hour manhunt. President Trump actually announced that the suspect was in custody on Fox News Friday morning, saying someone very close to him turned him in. And we now know that Tyler Robinson's family was instrumental in getting himself to turn himself in. President Trump said a minister was also
costs fall over time, and they're passed through into lower prices or better performance, one or the other. That is the most important. A machine can figure that out, I'm sure. But asking the questions are going to be important. Like, there wasn't, before 2014 when we started ARC, much on autonomous mobility or eVTOLs. Or for that matter, AI. AI had become science fiction. There weren't any breakthroughs in recent years. But then we got some breakthroughs. So Wright's Law is the first, figure out that cost.
I didn't read all the allegations. I read text messages and I went, oh, fuck this. Like, what? It's indefensible, you know? And I think, you know, doing this, I'd imagined I was going to be asked about it, you know? And I think the easiest thing for people to do is to kind of ignore it or avoid it. But man, it's there. And my initial first thing out of my mouth was, I'm kind of shocked at how dumb he was, like writing stuff down and leaving that paper trail. And it's horrific. And I'm not, like, I think at this point, all the energy should be used to somehow, I don't even know if you can make reparations or amends, but there's victims here, you know? So like what CM Punk thinks about